Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you another video. All right, so we have a game 6 ahead between the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks. And to be honest with you, game 5 was something that I don't even want to revisit. That's how bad it was. Uh, Simple as that. Luka Doncic hoisted up shots, and to no end, and didn't pass the ball pretty much at all. That's just what I saw. He had 2 assists on the game, and the team was just not very, active offensively. They weren't really helping themselves, putting up enough points on the board, working with one another, getting each other involved, things of that nature. Which is basically Luka taking it upon himself all game long and not getting very far against a Phoenix Suns team who found their 3-point shot. And we've talked about the Phoenix Suns and their woes behind the arc, both defending it and shooting, and they found their way in game 5. A lot of that had to do with the improved shooting of Jay Crowder, who actually hurt his shoulder in that game. I don't know if he'll be available tonight. And players like, Devin Booker continuing to do what he does. Obviously, you want to mention Bridges, who had a pretty solid game. You want him to score about what he scored in this game, which was 14 points, couple threes, 4 big steals, which really helped the team. And, when he's contributing on the offensive end, they're a much better team. Because if he's only doing things defensively and leaving them without offensive production, if Chris Paul isn't going to be scoring like he did in the first 2 games, it's kind of hard to see them being able to keep up with the Dallas Mavericks, who shoot a lot of threes and are finding dribble penetration with guys like Jalen Brunson and, of course, Luka Doncic. So, Dorian Finney-Smith is somebody you want to see get a lot of run tonight with the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, he's one of the most important players on their squad. Defensively, he locks people up. Offensively, he is above 40% from behind the arc, and he had 8 threes in a game. 4 that you just understand that that's something that maybe you don't expect him to duplicate, but his good 3-point shooting is something you can now pencil in. So I would give him more shots. He didn't shoot enough in this last game, and I need to see him take more shots in game 6 for his playoff life, because that's exactly what his team is fighting for tonight against the Phoenix Suns at home. That is the good thing. It is in Dallas. The arena should be jumping, and I do believe that the history of these playoffs has shown us that teams play better at home. Role players play better at home. I'm wondering how Reggie Bullock's doing. He was 0 for 5 in the last game and got hurt. So I don't know what his status is as well. But if he's not out there, that severely hurts the Dallas Mavericks defensively, specifically. His offense comes and goes. But his active arms and hands and all of these different attributes that he brings on the defensive side, I don't know that they can duplicate that without him. The games where they've had success, they've leaned on him in huge minutes, and he's come up big. So that's something I'm paying attention to with the Dallas Mavericks, just ultimately these injuries on both sides, really. So Jalen Brunson, he has to find his efficiency. He had a good game in the last one, been inconsistent in this series. They need him to have a good game tonight. Playing at home, I expect him to play well. You're looking at also, DeAndre Ayton as the guy that can't be guarded in this series, if you ask me. He can't be guarded. There is no one on this floor for the Dallas Mavericks that should be able to, in theory, stop him from doing anything he wants to do. If you feed him 20 times, you should feel really, really good about your chances of winning this game. At the end of the day, Phoenix Suns get most of their money inside field goal range. They were setting records to start this series. They did not shoot under 50%. They kind of got away from that. Obviously, their 3-point woes have been consistent. They need to shoot well. They need to continue to control the paint, rebounding, rim protection, scoring there. They need to control the paint, because Dallas is definitely going to have the advantage on the perimeter. Now, Maxi Kleber is somebody who's been rebounding excellent, defending excellently. 3-point shot is coming and going, but that's his strength. So if he's helping you in other areas and his strength is coming and going, you feel real confident about playing him because he's helping so much in other areas. Davis Bertans has come off of 2 very good and efficient basketball games. I'd like to continue to use his weaponry. He's somebody who can give you 10, 12 points, all threes, and he's a bucket at all times. So he doesn't really help you in other areas necessarily, but he's such a lethal 3-point shooter that he is definitely an asset to this team. And then we talk about Spencer Dinwiddie, who's having a hard time finding his way on this team. I do expect that they'll move on from him at the end of this offseason. I guess that doesn't have to be the case. But what I'm saying is they're going to have to maneuver the team around quite a bit to make his piece make sense on that roster. It doesn't right now. He needs the ball in his hands. He's a point guard. He needs to be able to create shots for himself and others. And if he's not able to do that, him off the ball doesn't work. Him off the bench off the ball is even worse. So, a lot of times they have him on the floor with Luka. I don't think he can play with Luka. I think he needs to be playing away from Luka. And see, that's another thing. I don't like how this team's constructed. You got Luka Doncic holding the ball 100% of the time, and then you got a bunch of ball handlers around him. Jalen Brunson needs the ball. Finney needs the ball if he's going to play. He's a point guard. Dinwiddie needs the ball. Luka needs the ball. Trey Burke needs the ball. And see, that's another thing. You look at the piece like Trey Burke. Trey Burke can really go, right? But when do you get a chance to see him really go? He should be a different piece. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to have role players on the back of your bench who have talent, let them be pieces that you can actually use. Because now you look at a guy like Trey Burke, and he doesn't get any run. But if he were a power forward who could, maybe not a power forward, they have a bunch of those, but if he was a different piece, maybe a small forward who could, have some athleticism and lots of length and all that, that piece would be more valuable to them at the same level that Trey Burke actually is. It's just he's the wrong piece. You know what I mean? He can play. You can give Trey Burke 20 minutes or fill him in at the backup point guard position when Luka's out, and he'll be excellent for you off the bench for that unit. Third string, second string, he's solid. But where in the heck do you get anything out of him in this roster? When Luka's the guy holding the ball, and then Jalen Brunson got the ball, and then when he doesn't, then Dinwiddie has the ball, and then when he doesn't, you're bringing Ntilikina in. It's like you got redundant pieces that you cannot use. Like, literally cannot use. They're really good. They would help other teams, and it would be better if you could take pieces like that on other teams that are double down on the stuff that you need and trade them the piece that they need, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what Dallas needs to do. They need to put the thinking cap on in regards to fixing their roster and get rid of pieces they cannot use that really can play. Because Trey Burke, let me tell you, he's somebody I want to see with some minutes in these playoffs. Because I already know what he can do. He's not an over crazy talented player, but he's still a bucket. We remember him from college, he's a bucket. So he reminds me of an Ish Smith type of guy who damn well he can play, but the roles that he's been given his entire career just aren't, not really going to give him an opportunity to show that. So that's just what his role is in this league, and it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like Dallas could use that production. What he could give them on a regular basis, they could use, but they can't use it, if that makes any sense. So that's just a little bit of frustration of why I think Dallas could be a championship team if they just structure their team a little better. Clearly, because if you look at Phoenix, don't have these problems. If you insert the problems that Dallas has to the Phoenix Suns, they probably do less with it. They probably do worse with those problems. You see what I'm saying? You do worse with those problems. Like if you take Cam Johnson and you double down on another Bismack Biyombo, that's essentially what Dallas has done with Trey Burke and having him and Dinwiddie, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't use those pieces. So yeah, that's my problem with Dallas. They just got a bunch of that going on, and they're still able to play well enough to get to the second round. So you can only imagine what they'd be if they weren't like that. But all in all, with this game at home, let's get back on track. With this game at home, you expect for them to play well, and you expect the Phoenix Suns to continue to have struggles from behind the arc. Was that game that they played well and they shot over 50% from the arc really what to be expected, or should we look at the rest of their body of work and say that was just an outlier? I'm going to go with the latter here. They ain't been able to shoot well from behind the arc all playoffs. They had one good game from behind the arc. Do it again. I don't think you will. So with that being said, I do expect the Dallas Mavericks to keep their season going. Normally I'd say Chris Paul going to close you out, blah, blah, blah. But with the way Chris Paul has been struggling, I am not certain that's the case. He did have a better game in the last one, so his trajectory is pointing upward, which is very dangerous given the fact that he's Chris Paul. So, for whatever that's worth, his trajectory is going like this. Devin Booker is continuing to be exactly who he is at all times. Probably the most consistent player in all these dang playoffs. He just needs to continue to be exactly who he is. He's doing everything he needs to do, both sides of the floor. I haven't seen too much from him I didn't like. Even his shot selection, if it ain't great, he's hitting the shots. So there's no problem. There's no problem. I think Devin Booker has been great. And you need more out of the Cams. We talked about campaign. They've set him. I thought it was a good idea. If a guy's struggling 3 straight games, you got to remove him. That's not something you can sit here and say, Cam, keep going. We're waiting. No. It's the playoffs. We got to do what's best for the team. So I respect the sitting of campaign. His struggles are real. Going with Aaron Holiday a little more. Saw him hit some shots. I know he has some upside. I know he can play some. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think they got a piece there. They don't really know that he can go a little more than they've seen. So, Landry Shamet had a good game in this last game. He's a very inconsistent player to a degree, but with him playing good in the last one, maybe they call his number again. Maybe he does it again. I don't know really how to view Landry from a night-to-night basis. I've seen him play great. I've seen him play poorly. I don't know what to expect from him. So you have to manage him. If he's balling, keep him out there. If he's not, go ahead and sit him back down. So that's really what it is, man. The Phoenix Suns obviously are the better team. Nobody's going to argue that. But the Dallas Mavericks do have those stretch fours. Those 4 or 5 stretch fours that most of them play defense, so they can keep them on the floor all game long if they want to. They create problems defensively, and they do what they need to do offensively to give Luka a spell so long as he uses them. And that's going to be key. Is Luka going to try to take this upon himself tonight and be super Luka? And if that's the case, he only has 2 assists, maybe 40 points. I don't like Dallas in a game like that. But if he's upwards of 9 assists, 10 assists, get his points that way, maybe get 25 points and up the assist total. Getting the Maxi Klebers and the Davis Bertans and the Dorian Finney Smiths the ball, making sure that he gets something out of Spencer Dinwiddie. I love Dallas winning this game at home tonight with the struggling Phoenix Suns that just have not mastered the perimeter. Not really. They shook it off, but they're going to show me they can do it again. So that's how I feel about that. That's exactly how I feel about that. Jay Crowder's injury concerns me as well, given the fact that he's the only person that's really been able to hit a 3 consistently in the series. If he's not able to go, you're relying upon guys who haven't necessarily been playing as well to do more, like Cam Johnson, who's going to have to play better. The best game that he's had in this series, I think he had like 10 points. That's not the Cam Johnson that played in the playoffs last year that was helping lead the Phoenix Suns on both sides of the floor. He's arguably, if not definitely, their best bench player. And if he's not giving them the production that they need defensively and behind the arc, particularly getting in passing lanes, as I've told you guys, he's great at that. He needs to get some steals and get going on and get his team some fast break points. I think that's where he's really elite or potentially elite someday. He can really get in passing lanes. He's good at that. So I want to see him do that. He and Mikal Bridges are a monster defensively. If they both get multiple steals tonight, they're both super well for their team. So, yeah, man, the size of the Phoenix Suns, I like. They've been using Bismack Biyombo more. Obviously, JaVale McGee has been kind of dealing with a leg injury that he sustained, I think, in the last game or the game before. But they used Biyombo, and he's been great. He's excellent on offensive glass. He's known for blocking shots. He's going to dunk on your head and scream in your face. Definitely somebody who's played great for the Phoenix Suns over the last year. And he's well rested because he hasn't been playing a whole lot in these playoffs. So look for him to continue to make his impact tonight. He's a very important piece for that Suns rebounding and defense. Loving what I'm seeing there, man. Chris Paul, I'm expecting more than 7 points, but all in all, as long as he's continuing to set others up as he always does, keeping the balance of scoring in place, I think the Phoenix Suns are going to have an excellent game tonight. But if they're overwhelmed by that blue, as I always say, that Dallas blue arena, it seems imposing to me. It's like you are outside of your element when you go to that arena. You're going to deal with it. You're definitely going to have to deal with what they bring to the table at home. It's going to be a jumping arena, and Dallas is fighting for their lives. So this is not a light situation. However, my biggest concern is how Luka handles situations like this, because it looked to me that he thinks that he needs to take it upon himself to do everything scoring the ball in situations like this. And if he has that mentality, it plays right into Phoenix's hands. He has to look for others So that's what I got, man. BDF 44. I hope everyone enjoys this game, and I'll get back to you, of course, with videos later on. Peace out, y'all. BDF.